Good afternoon.
Yes. Hi, good afternoon, Ananya. How are you?
I am good. How are you? How's life?
Yeah, it's going well. Thanks for asking. How about you?
All's well. A little hectic at the moment, but all's well.
Yeah, I wanted to have a session with you yesterday evening, right?
Mhm.
But due to some reasons, I think you had to cancel that, right?
Yes, actually, I had a meeting which I couldn't avoid. It was a court
Mm.
appointed meeting, so I couldn't. So I had to cancel the session, sadly.
Okay, so sometimes you get some meetings, I mean to say, like, do you get some information in advance, or sometimes it happens like you have to
I
attend it?
think since we deal with different sorts of cases, there are certain
Mm-hmm.
cases where the court gives mediation, right? And,
Mm-hmm.
in mediation, it depends when do you get a slot, because that is not in our
Mm-hmm.
hands. So that mediation
Mm-hmm.
date can be immediate, or sometimes the parties are willing to take it up, and if the slot is available, they give it on the same day in the evening or whatever time is available. So sometimes things can get unpredictable. Apart from
Mm-hmm.
whenever it is a matter of the court, that we are intimated much in advance. So as long as we are going to the court, but we don't know what's going to happen in the court, depending on the situations and the circumstances. But at least we can prepare on what stage of the trial we are. So that is what it is.
Okay.
Yes.
And sometimes nowadays I hear from people that nowadays many people do this online hearing. Does
Yes.
that happen too?
See, that is okay if like people practice in different states at once. Sometimes
Hmm.
when they are unable to come for a matter, high courts allow, there are certain district courts also which are setting up this online platform because during COVID, everything had to be online. As a matter of
Hmm.
fact, now that tradition has continued where you're allowed to give an online appearance until the court orders you to be physically present in that matter on a particular date. Sometimes they also have local councils if you're there from a different state who are present physically, and then the parties, the main counsel to the case can be present online as well.
Okay, so do you also attend some online hearings?
See, it depends wherever I have a matter. That sometimes I have a matter in a different state, and of course I can't travel. But usually I try to
Hmm.
plan my cases in a way that I make sure that I go because the client gets a little uncomfortable if the counsel is not there. So for as a matter
Hmm.
of fact, I try to plan it out. Worst comes worst, I do have local counsels here and there who kind of help me out through the entire process. And I avoid going online per se sometimes because there are network issues either in the court and either on your side, and you're unable to explain what exactly are you. So I that is something that I'm not comfortable with. So I try to avoid as much as I can, in short.
Okay, so most of the time you try to attend offline meetings or offline cases.
Absolutely.
So, but if it is like just it is not possible, then you try to do online.
Absolutely.
Okay. And what about this training? I mean to say you told me like you're practicing, right? So how
Mhm.
long will you be practicing like that? Or I mean to say it is a continuous process, how that works.
All right. So in terms of law, there is no upper limit to the age limit like, certain professions have, or there is no
Mm-hmm.
retirement age when you have a practice of your own. So we also have seen people who are 90 plus who are hale and hearty who come to the court even today. They might not
Mm-hmm.
be taking up cases actively like they used to take a couple of years ago, of course, because of other
Mm-hmm.
concerns and age
Yeah.
factors.
Mm-hmm.
But then we
Mm-hmm.
have also seen people that they get so used to this busy life that they can't sit at home either. So even if it is just
Mm.
for 1 hour or 2 hours to come to the court and feel normal, I have seen people of a certain age do that as well. Of course, they are regarded highly because of what they've achieved in the profession and the kind of network of people they've built. Sometimes the kids of their friends, and it's a huge network out there. So there is no upper age limit. You can keep on practicing for as long as you want.
Yeah. So my question, why? Because the word you are using that is practicing. So
Mhm.
what I feel like sometimes we say like we are practicing spoken English, right? At any time we can do it, but at just certain after certain period of time we become expert of it. So
Mm.
that's what my question is. Like practicing seems to be like yeah, you're practicing to become like if you have you got selected in police department and
Mm.
you get training for 6 months and 1 year, right? And after that you can say that I'm a policeman. So that's what my question is, like after how many years you would be able to say perfectly that now you're full-fledged advocate or something like that.
See, the term practice does not come from the fact that you're learning. It's like a
Mm-hmm.
medical practice. So we are anyways advocates because we've cleared our bar exams, and even the
Mm.
person who's practicing for 20 years will always say it's that they are still practicing. No, we
Okay.
are all advocates. The people, okay, so I'll tell you a minimal bifurcation. People who
Mm-hmm.
practice in courts, they are called advocates. The people who practice in companies are called lawyers. Advocates
Okay.
are people who litigate in a court of law. Corporate
Mm.
lawyers are people who only deal with legal things, contracts, and documentations and negotiations, but they don't come to the court of law until necessary. They are called corporate
Mm-hmm.
lawyers. So that's a minor bifurcation. Practice of law is anything, any profession where you are not doing a job like medicine, like law,
Mm-hmm.
where you are,
Mm.
because these are ever changing fields, the field of
Yeah.
medicine, the field of law. So we can never say we are experts, although we are specialized in different laws. Like I'm an IPR specialist, but I also take
Mm.
up financial matters. I also take up divorce matters. I also take up property related matters. A lot of matters on the civil and criminal side included. But my expertise,
Mm.
I'd say, like you were asking, I'm an IPR specialist. Now,
Mm-hmm.
irrespective, and I am an advocate, but irrespective of the number of years that I've put into the profession, I can never say I've achieved that I have only studied this law. There are people who only
Mm.
practice one kind of law, but then again, the term practice does not equal to the fact that you're learning. Practice is
Mm-hmm.
always that you keep on going about round and round about something. That is why we use the term practice.
Okay, so being an advocate also, just you are practicing to become better at, and of course, there's a lot to study, a lot of case studies in the
There's
books
something
or
or the other that
laws.
keeps on changing in terms of law. So we can never say we've just completed it. So there's
Mm.
no end to it.
Yeah, maybe degree we can complete, but the practicing of a law can never be completed.
That's
That's what you're saying.
yes.
Okay, that's very nice to know. Because and the question I have, like whenever we hear that advocate and the lawyer, we always get the picture like kind of the man with the black coat and everything. But sometimes I hear some people are advocates, but they don't go to the court actively, as you told me. Like rarely they go, just as you talked about the corporate lawyers. But I always get, and most of the people I think get the same image, whatever they watch in movies, like that there would be two just advocates talking to each other, and the, oh my, just judge would be there. So that then just all kind of scene when it happens. Like, do you take part in it? That's what my question is. Whatever
Yeah,
we see in movies, like the
see,
man and all, the people are sitting there. Like, how's that
I'll
work?
tell you what happens is I'll give you a very honest picture about what you're thinking. See, real courtrooms are very different than what movies show. First of all, you don't have
Okay.
so much space where you have two tables put up for a lawyer for one side of the party and the other, and then there's the judge, and they're sitting all comfortably. There are huge courtrooms, but I won't say that they are luxuriously put up that you have so much space. Number one. Number
Mm.
two, what happens is we have podiums where the parties can stand, the petitioner or the complainant, and the defendant or the
Mhm.
respondent. And then the people who are sitting in the backgrounds are actually other lawyers waiting. Like in the movies, they show all sorts of people. Although courtrooms are open to anybody who wants to come and witness cases, right?
Mhm.
But apart from that, that's also a procedure how to get into the court because you need to have a lawyer and something. That's another ball game. But they're usually lawyers who are waiting for the turn in the case number of their case. That is why there are so many
Okay.
people in the courtroom. Otherwise, in reality, apart from movies, there are no other people who are sitting. Only civilians that are
Yeah.
there are the ones who are either wanting to come for their own case or somebody else.
Mhm.
It's not like there'll be a lot of media or something and they're covering in the courtroom. That doesn't happen. Number one.
Yeah, but in the movie, I see like, oh my goodness, many people are waiting. They start clapping that
That's
wow.
not allowed for
So,
sure.
so that is not something which takes place in reality a lot.
No, not at all. Not at all. That definitely does not happen.
Okay, because I think not I just only most of the people have this just whatever the we watch in movies they get the same scene like Jolly LLB is just one of the best movies for that and we watch and we get the same kind of scenario like you are a lawyer, oh wow, that we get the same picture in my mind that you go there, you just people wait, you ask questions like Amitabh Bachchan in Pink or just in those movies like that movie. So all these questions we get, but it is in reality it's a bit different, right?
Quite
And I
different.
think, actually, even though I went to court, not for a big matters, but I have seen nobody's interested to go there. Like in the movies, they show like people are sitting and just, waiting for the results. Only the people who are just bound to go there, they go, or just they're compelled to go there. Somehow they have to be there for hours and they want to come out as early as possible. They don't want to sit like interestingly, like we watch in the movies that, wow, they are listening to the advocates, they are enjoying the matter. Nobody enjoys it, like if they are into some criminal activities, or even though if somebody hasn't done it but they are still in the court, they don't enjoy being there, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because what happens, when, see, court procedures are very tedious. And it's not
Yes.
like they don't want to finish the matters on time. The only thing is that the entire legal procedure has to be followed because both the parties get a fair chance to put their side of the stories in front of the judge. Right.
Hmm.
The only thing is, because of so many matters, sometimes the date of the matter is 3 months apart. Sometimes it's four
Hmm.
months apart. That is why we say that you have to be a little patient in terms of the procedure. The procedure might be going on quickly, but the result might come out later because of this purpose. And you
Hmm.
can ask your plead for a shorter date depending on what the client is comfortable with, or if the court has a date available with them. That is the most important part. So it kind of depends upon that. So it's not
Okay.
always in our hands. Sometimes the court does not have a date to give you early. They say the earliest we can give you is 4 months apart. So you have no other option but to take that date.
Yeah, means they are already booked for the 4 months, like
They're
we
booking
book the
for the
tickets in
yes.
just railways in advance.
Exactly, because see, they're dealing with at least 20, 30 cases a day, the judge.
Uh-huh.
Every
Uh-huh.
case has to be given a timeline. So depending
Yes.
on the stage of the case, the lists keep on piling up. Okay, so this case goes on this date. So their calendars kind of keep on shuffling. If they have a slot
Hmm.
available where they can, kind of put the case there until it's put up in an emergency matter and it's just been filed, which is a different situation. So there are different
Hmm.
categories also when the cause lists come out. Cause lists are the lists which
Mhm.
tell us where our case is put up on what number, and so these lists, when they come out, by the evening of the courts, they come out and they're released. So you get to check, at least in the high courts, and sometimes you can just go to the court number of the supposed state. You check, okay, okay, in this courtroom, you put in the name of the judge and then you put in the date, and then you get to know as to what the proposed list
Mhm.
is. Sometimes the order keeps on fluctuating like a number or so up and down, depending on what that day's list is and if new matters have been put up. So there can be minor bifurcations, but then there are cases also that you're waiting till the evening, but your number doesn't come, and in the end, you only get next date for that case. So there are days like that also because you don't know what happens in a courtroom. If it is a
Okay.
new
As
matter,
an advocate, also you have to be there, and
yes,
sometimes you have to
yes,
come back home without
absolutely, because
getting
you
your
can do
chance.
nothing but wait for your chance. Like imagine if the
Hmm.
bench gets up at 4:30, bench as in they're
Hmm.
done for the day, the judge gets up. So the reader in the courtroom will only give you a date for the next hearing.
Hmm.
So all you can do is you can be patient until you take the date
Yeah.
for the next hearing. So that is important. See, in this profession, it is not about just arguing or just writing and just filing or something. You also have to be very patient. It's a practice. Some people think, some people work for so many years for other people, and suddenly they think that we want to go independent. And then they realize we have nothing to hold on to. So, in terms
Hmm.
of a practice, you have to start from scratch. And when you're starting
Hmm.
from scratch, you have to have patience to get clients also. And
Hmm.
then there is this factor of proving yourself also.
Yeah.
People who are from corporate, sometimes they don't realize that, it's very different from a job. Then they're like, why are you not
Hmm.
earning this much? Sometimes kids, the new generation, they're coming into practice. They feel very pressured by the idea when people question, oh, why aren't you earning this much? It's not in their hands. If a kid
Hmm.
who has worked in the corporate is making good
Uh-huh.
money and suddenly he says that I am not satisfied because you hardcore don't practice law all the time. Right. In
Hmm.
corporate, you don't get to go to court and get that feel of an actual advocate. It's very
Yeah.
different in the corporate world. If the times that I've seen people make a shift and then they say that, we are not earning as much. Of course, you don't start off with earning a couple of lakhs a month until and unless
Hmm.
you've built that rapport. or
Mm-hmm.
you've worked in the corporate world for n number of years and you've created a network of people and then you have the capacity to go independent. That is a
Mm-hmm.
different ball game. You already have clients in hand. Right. But if
Mm.
you're a newcomer who's worked for 3, 4 years in the corporate and then you decide to go independent, obviously you will not have big clients in your hand. You might get work here
Mm.
and there, but I'm not saying that you will get cases worth crores a month. Don't have that
Yeah.
expectation. So the kind of patience that this field also teaches you, there are two sides to this. One side is
Mm-hmm.
sheer argumentation and one side is sheer patience. So you need to have both diplomatic skills to deal with how the situation is unfolding and when it is unfolding, because this job, this very task of practice a very is an environment of high pressure, because you
Mm.
have a pressure to perform, you have a pressure to be good
Uh-huh.
in the courtroom, because the judge can thrash you irrespective of your age and experience. The judge
Okay.
wants things a proper way. Every judge runs their courtroom according to them. So you have to
Mm-hmm.
be on your A game, irrespective you've been in this profession for 40 years, 5 years, 4 years. Courtrooms are unpredictable. So, one suggestion, if anybody out there is a potential lawyer or preparing, so the only message that I would like to give through your channel would be that, don't go to the courtroom unprepared. You never know what's going to happen. At least if you have a file in your hand, go through the basics. And sometimes, I feel when I started working for somebody else, when I was on my initial stages of learning, you
Mm-hmm.
get so many files, you don't know what to do with them. Thankfully, I was never put in a situation where I had to stand in front of the judge absolutely blank. Thankfully, I had good associates at that time to help me out. But I have seen people go blank and get thrashed by judges also. So, one thing I learned at that time was to never go to a courtroom blank. So, even if you're waiting for your turn, at least go through the facts of the case. And you sometimes are not taught how to go through a case quickly. But I feel like even if you're not, just observe how your senior does it. Some
Uh,
seniors were good enough to help you and guide you through how to read a case. If you have a
uh-huh.
bulky file, what are the important factors and what are the compulsory factors? Where are the only factors you need to pay attention to and what stage is the case at? And court
Mm.
orders are very essential. So there's a lot of things that in the background that go on. And yeah, it's a
So even though in court also some people or the advocates are like backbenchers, student. Like sometimes we go to the viva and we have the file in our hands, but we don't even know like what is written in the file. And then when he starts asking, you really like, oh, like what should I tell? So it happens with some advocates, right?
It does because if you have 30, 40 cases a day, like the
Yeah, it's a pressure.
adults who are running around, or the people who are on panels and they have private cases, panel cases, and they don't have the time and the
Family
bandwidth.
matters, personal things too.
Yes, you
Mm.
can't go through everything. So you have associates to help you out. But even if you're
Mm.
the one who is the arguing counsel, you have to be upbeat with all the facts. So
Mm.
that's why sometimes you see people with two associates who are telling him this, 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 this in the middle of when they are arguing. Is because you as an individual cannot learn or go through all or remember facts of 30, 40 cases in one night. You know
Yeah, it's very
what
difficult.
is happening in the case because you're the one who's going for the case, but it's not always feasible to remember every fact of the case. That is why you
Mm.
always see seniors also just brushing up before, the turn comes for the case. That is why
Mhm.
this profession is so tedious because there are so many processes and procedures that it's never ending. And
Yeah, I can understand.
sorry to cut
Mhm.
you out, but I think we've just hit the time slot for today. And actually, I have a session right now, so I'm so sorry I have to cut it short.
No, no issues. We will discuss this next time. So, okay, thank you. Bye bye. Take care.
Bye. Take care.